Avengers! Are we recording yet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me a second. Howdy, Roundabout, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Al Pacino's Prison Scene, the podcast where we look at movies that objectively have no deeper meaning, and we think about it. That's the words. My name is Thomas, and with me is my co-host, Jake Ferrier.
Go, Speed Racer, go!
So, it is with a heavy heart, not really, but this is going to be the last episode of the podcast for a while. We're not going away forever. We're just going away for a little bit. And, you know, maybe we'll be different. Maybe we won't. But we will be back eventually. I'll talk more about that at the end of the episode. But I know some people don't stay all the way to the end, so I just want to get it out of top. Don't be alarmed when there's not a new episode next week. And follow us on Twitter to stay updated.
Was that Shaggy?
Not
in the middle of it?
Not intentionally, but maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Also, throughout this, I might be playing tic-tac-toe, so if you hear music,
Why?
little listener guys, Shaggy Goose Egg Boys.
Trying to win a game?
Yeah, but we figured out how to tie, so now we just always tie. Me and somebody.
Is it Sam?
Nope.
Was
doesn't
that
matter.
close?
I mean, it starts with an S, so I guess so.
Simon.
But yeah, this week we're doing Speed Racer. That's his name. That's the character's name. His name is Speed Racer. This came out of the fishbowl, and you put it in the fishbowl.
I did put it in the fishbowl.
Because I remember I almost vetoed this one because I watched it last summer, and watching it then, not with my big brain turned on, I was like, this is about capitalism. And you know what? It is about
capitalism.
But it's also about some other stuff maybe, and I think this movie kind of does still belong here. And I think this is why I didn't say anything when you put it in, because I could see people arguing that this movie is all style and no substance, which might be partially why it bombed at the box office and was not received very well when it initially came out.
You know, every time I see this, I forget what happens, and then I remember every time.
Well, there's something in this movie. I don't know if I've seen this twice or three times, but there's something in this movie that every time I see it, I think I know, and then it ends, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
Oh, you're talking about Rex?
Yeah.
Dude,
but I'll talk about that in the recap.
Okay.
And then we can talk about it more later.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and go into the recap. Movie opens, Speed Racer's racing, he's speed, he's fast. And then it cuts back to when he's a little kid, he's like, drawing stuff on his test. He's not good at taking tests. And it keeps cutting back and forth between the race and him as a kid. And, like, he's a kid, and his brother's like, let's go race to the racetrack. Are you wearing your red socks? He's like, yeah, I'm wearing my red socks. So they go race on the racetrack. And then his brother's like, oh, no, I got to leave. The order of this might be a little wrong because the opening was weird to me. But the brother's like, oh, no, I got to leave. And the dad's like, you're leaving? And the brother's like, I'm not saying anything to you, Dad. I'm silent. So he leaves, and then turns out his brother died in an explosion. Uh-oh, not good. So then it cuts back to present day in the race, and Speed is racing his brother's ghost time. Like, because his brother Rex has the record on the racetrack, and Speed's going to beat that record. But then as soon as he gets to the finish line, he slows down, so his brother saves the record. And then in the audience, his family's watching him. He's got a younger brother named Spritle, a monkey named Chim Chim, a mom, I don't know her name, and a dad named Pops. And then his girlfriend, Trixie, who was in the classroom when he was taking the test, going like, boop, 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 or whatever car noises is. And then Trixie was like, hey, he's not dumb. He's cool. And she beat up the other girls, the bullies. And then Speed drove through a rose bush and was like, hey, we're going to be together forever. And she was like, okay. And so
she
then
says cool beans.
Yeah, she does say cool beans. And then so we're back in present day, and then Speed wins the race. He almost beats his brother's time, but he doesn't. And then all these people are like, hey, you want to sign with us? Huh? You want to sign with us? And his brother's like, not interested. But then this guy shows up, Jackie Daytona or whatever his name is. It starts with an R, but I don't remember.
Oh,
Wayland Yutani.
Royalton?
Yeah, Royalton. And he shows up and he's like, "Hey, Speed, I like pancakes. You want to come to my factory? Here's how you're inferior in every way. Sign with me." And Speed's like, "Oh, I got to think about it." So he goes
I didn't
back
even think
a little
about
later.
that.
What?
I didn't think about that.
Okay. And then Speed's like, "I'll think about it." And so he thinks about it. And he comes back a little later, and then he's like, "You know what, Royalton? I don't want to sign." And Royalton's like, "You fool. It's all a sham. Racing is all made up. It's all the sponsors. They control everything." Rah! And then Speed's like, "You really are the devil." And so Speed races in a race, but then something happens, and then his family gets sued, and it's all going downhill, and everything Royalton said is coming true, and he's like, "Ooh, I got to beat this guy." And then the dad is like, "No, you don't. Just don't worry about it, son. It's okay." And then Racer X and Inspector Detector, best name in the world, by the way, shows up and is like, "Hey, we got information on this guy who Takahashi Toshida, whatever his name is." And he's like, "Hey, I want to beat these people, and then I'll give you some information on Royalton." And they're like, "Okay." So then they race in a race, an illegal race. And then they win, or they lose the first one, but then they win the second one. And a bunch of crazy stuff happened in between. Trixie was racing at one point. I don't know. A lot of stuff was going on. It's very colorful. Monkey threw poop at a guy's face. That guy's name was Cruncher.
Monkey Cookie.
Yeah. And so then they win that race. And then it turns out Toshida is like, "Oh, man, I was just playing you guys. I don't really want Royalton to go to prison. I just wanted the price of my company to go up so we can sell it to Royalton, and Royalton can make a big ton of money." And Speed's like, "Hey, that's messed up. That's not cool." So then Speed and his dad are like, "We're going to build a super duper car." And so they do. And then Speed's like, "I'm going to win the race." And he wins the race. And he's like, "Haha." And he exposed. And then when he was running the race, he exposed that Royalton was a cheater because they used a spike claw or whatever it's called. And then Royalton's like, "Oh, no." And Ben Burns was like, "You really messed that up, guy." That's not what he says, really, but it's the recap. And then it's race, and then Speed wins, and his family's like, "Whoa, we're drinking milk!" And then Toshida is like, because he realizes that the good thing was the good thing all along. Also, I forgot to mention that at one point, Speed goes to Racer X, or Racer X finds Speed on a racetrack, and is like, "It doesn't matter if the racing is bad. If what matters is that the racing never changes you," or something like that. Yeah. I wrote down the quote. I'll bring it up later. And that's important because that's like thematic or whatever. And then when Speed was racing at the end, everyone remembered that quote and that it was important. And that's the end. And then it's the credits, and the Japanese sing a little bit, and then the Americans sing, and the monkeys are dancing. Woo! That's the movie.
There you go. You know what? I already kind of don't remember this movie.
It's a weird movie. Although, I don't really know why people don't like it because I feel like it's good. When I watched it last summer, I was like, "This isn't that good." But I was watching it this time, I was like, "This is really good."
Yeah, I really do not like the styling of like the outside world though at all. It feels like I don't know. It feels flat to me, and like kind of goofy. Like it feels kind of like what's the Robbie Rotten guy? What's that show from?
Lazy Town?
Lazy Town, yeah. It feels like a kid's like over the top contrasty background.
Well, I think that's the point. I think that the reason and I wrote down before I started the movie, I wrote down style is substance, family, and corporate entanglement. And the reason I wrote down style is substance is because this movie to me is akin to Scott Pilgrim. In that both of these films are very stylized, they're hyper stylized, and are both anime inspired, I would say. Scott Pilgrim, you could argue more so. However, Speed Racer was an actual anime.
Yeah.
So maybe Speed Racer.
Well, Scott Pilgrim was a comic.
Yeah. It's not anime.
Yeah.
It's not a manga.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm just saying.
But I think the reason the Speed Racer is styled the way that it is because it's presented as like a live action version of an anime. And I think if more anime adaptations did this and like in this way and kind of went all in on like the ridiculousness, then they could be more successful. Because I haven't watched many or really any, I don't think. anime live action adaptations, but they're almost all received poorly, like especially the Netflix ones, like Death Note and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of that is that they try to go overly serious and not
and
focus
I think,
on the more ludicrous.
Okay, I think the
aspects.
styling is fine, but I'm specifically talking about like the landscape styling. Like it feels flat. Like it doesn't feel like there's depth to the city or anything.
The whole film was shot on a green screen. I saw that.
I know, and that's why I don't like it, because it feels just like.
But I think again the reason they did that is so that all the colors would be more vibrant and would pop more. Like I wrote down at one point, the visuals in this are equivalent to like Cat in the Hat.
Well, and that's actually because I don't like those either. But when they're inside, it's fine and it looks good, and when they're racing, it's fine, it looks good. It's just like the landscapes, I don't like it, because I do think it like when like they're driving and the brakes are like meow, that it's cool, but I don't like when they first go outside and everything's kind of just like there. I don't like that. But something that I'm sure Shaggy Goose might not, is that John Goodman's character's name in this film is just Pops Racer.
I said that.
Did you?
In the recap, yeah.
Oh, and the mom is also just Mom Racer.
Okay, I couldn't remember the mom's name.
It's just Mom. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, Rex Racer. Racer X.
What about it? Oh, I meant to say that in the recap. At the end of the movie, so when Speed confronts him at the Speedway or whatever, or I guess Racer X shows up, he's like, "You're my dead brother," and he's like, "No, I'm not. Your brother's dead." And then later at the literal end of the movie, after Speed wins the race, Inspector Detective walks up to Racer X and is like, "You ever regret not telling your family the truth?" And he's like, "It's a mistake I'll have to live with my whole life."
We said if it's a mistake,
right?
Which I think that's a important detail.
But
then like he does like a face-off thing kind of, where he has like a new face.
Yeah, he got it surgically changed.
But yeah, like I think this is what you're gonna say, is that like, so every time I watch this movie, I forget that.
Well, to me, like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's so obvious that he's the brother, so he's not the brother. And then the reveal comes on the racetrack, and I'm like, see, I knew it. He's not the brother. And it's the end of the movie, and I'm like, oh, he was the brother.
Well, see, I'm always like, yeah, oh, well, he's the brother. And then he takes his helmet off, and he's not. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's not the brother. And then the end comes, and I'm like, oh, wait, he is the brother.
Yeah,
so I forget every time.
That's fun. Good job, guys. Did that? Which he's also the brother in the cartoon, or the anime. Which I was reading about that earlier. It's funny. Apparently, every episode he says it to the audience that he's Speed's brother, but Speed never knows until like the end of the show.
Oh, really?
And that's just really funny to me.
That is funny. Which shout out, because there is the homage to the actual anime in the crisscross race. He's wearing the original. He's wearing like the uniform from the.
Oh yeah, anime. I have pulled up the Wikipedia. I was going to read some of what the people say, because I thought it was funny. Number one, this kind of goes to what you're saying. It says overloaded with headache-inducing special effects. Speed Racers finds the Wachowskis focused on visual thrills at the expense of a coherent storyline, which I don't know if I agree with that storyline part, but that kind of is what you were saying about like the backgrounds or whatever. And there was one quote specifically I was trying to find.
I think that this is definitely a coherent story, so I disagree with that completely. Because I think we know, for the most part, what Speed's desire is. At least in a general sense. He wants to win.
I can't find it, but somebody basically said that, they praised the acting. Oh, wait, hold on. It was at the top of the page. That's why.
Yeah, because it's Susan Sarandon, Michael Fox, or whatever his name is. Jack Shepherd from Lost is who that is. John Goodman, Emil Hirsch.
Here it is. Upon initial release, the film received mixed reviews, receiving praise for its action sequences, musical score, cinematography, and the cast, but criticism for its screenplay and runtime. And I thought that was a funny quote, because basically they're like, yeah, everything in this movie is good, except the movie's not good.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're talking about the core part of the movie.
Right.
Which also I think is funny is that Sparky, Spritle, and Speed are all S names.
SP.
Or what?
They're all SP names.
They are all SP names, but Rex is an R name.
Yeah.
But is Rex the oldest, or is Sparky the oldest?
I don't know if Sparky's in their family or not. I've never been able to figure that out.
I'm gonna look that up because that's weird. Because he's not. If he's older, he wasn't in there in the beginning. How old is Speed in this?
I don't know.
Okay,
older than Sparky.
Because
presumably.
theoretically,
I mean, I feel like Sparky is older than Speed, but also every time I watch this, I think Racer X is Aaron Eckhart, and he never is.
Why?
I don't know.
I also don't know who that is.
He's Two-Face in The Dark Knight. His jawline. I don't know. Every time I'm like, that's Aaron.
Oh, you're talking about okay. Harvey Dent, for those who don't know. Is Sparky in the Racer family? Is Sparky Speed Racer brother? For Speed, Speed's father. And his Speed's lifelong companion Trixie and mechanic Sparky. Okay, so Sparky's not in the family, but why does he have an SP name?
Just cause, man.
Also, he's like Australian, so where'd he come from?
I would assume Australia.
Yeah, but why? Why from Australia? Okay, all right.
Just cause.
You smell that burning?
Yeah. It's my love.
For this movie?
No, just in general.
Oh, okay.
That's an Elvis reference.
So what?
That's an Elvis reference.
Oh. All right, what do you think this movie's about, Thomas?
Capitalism, baby.
Okay, so... Oh, my God. What is that smell?
Doesn't matter.
So, okay. So I think that this movie is about those things, but I think that, like, if I were to give, like, one central, like, message, I think it would be that similar to Nacho Libre.
Nacho! Oh!
Get that cone out of my face! Is that, like, oh my God, what is that?
I don't know. Are you getting worried?
I am.
It's okay. It'll buff.
Okay, I hear Lucas talking, so it should be fine. All right, I trust him. Is that like if you have a skill or a talent, it's your duty to use it to better society or whatever? Because Racer X, you know, like you said the line, if like he's like, it's not about racing changing, it's about how racing changes. Or he's what does he say?
It doesn't matter if racing never changes. What matters is if you let the racing change us.
Yeah. Which goes into like the capitalism thing, but the point of what he's saying is that like race to race.
Well, I mean, ultimately, that's like the takeaway, I think, because at the end, when Speed is racing, and like, I think I said this, but I feel like he reminds everyone in the audience that's a racer why they race. And it's like not for the money or whatever. Well, especially the two commentators who Bucky I'm pretty Barnes sure and, are Ben Burns and the guy that Ben Burns raced in the initial race that
sold out, actually.
The race that Speed and his dad watched and reconnected and was like, this is racing.
Well, yeah, because and I agree with that, because Bucky Barnes, you know, has that rekindling because he's at the Royalton Industries the first time Speed's there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe what's the guy's name?
Cannonball?
No, not Cannonball Taylor. What's his name from this golf one where it's hockey?
You talking about Happy Gilmore?
Yeah. What's his name in that?
I'm not saying that.
What's his name in it?
I'm not telling you.
Goose or something?
Nope.
All right. Anyway, so he's there, and then later he Speed's back, and Royalton's like, it was all set up because it's money. And then Bucky Barnes is like, look at him go, he's gonna beat them all, knowing that every Grand Prix is set up for one person to win, but also how Pop's Racer is like, they're not set up like that. So there's that interesting dichotomy. So even though that there are the people who believe and there are people who don't, Speed comes through and unifies both parties and recenters that love for racing.
Well, I don't think it's that they don't believe, but like they were a part of it, so they know the truth.
You know what I'm saying? Pops doesn't believe that it was fixed. I'm saying the people who believe it's fixed and the people who don't believe it's fixed, or who were a part of it, and then the people who think it's a conspiracy, they come together under one racing umbrella, regardless of their beliefs.
Okay. But I think that's where the movie ends up. But initially, it's very front loaded with like capitalism and consumerism and all that stuff. I think, especially in the tour at Royalton Industries, because there's like Royalton's like pointing out everything. I thought I wrote this down, but apparently I didn't. Royalton's like pointing out everything that like the company can do, and then he immediately turns to Pops and is like, "Oh, how fast can you do that?" Blah blah blah, and like he's just pointing out that this company can do everything better that Pops can. But before they go on that tour, when Royalton comes to their house and is like, I love pancakes, he says something about how Royalton Industries is something he built from below the ground up.
Yeah.
And because of that, it still maintains the independent spirit. And Racer Motors will have a home there because of that independent spirit. It's like I wrote down the question, can the independent spirit endure in a corporate conglomerate, or is it all about the money? And like, because like he mentioned something about quitting his job at Globacom so he could start his own business. And so ultimately, obviously for him, it is all about the money.
Right.
He pretty much straight up says that later. But I do think that in the real world, there could be some instances where...
That's tough. That's tough because I think... so let's take a look at Ready Player One, for instance. I think that that's a good example of maintaining...
With Halliday?
Yeah, with Halliday.
Who created the Oasis?
And Ogden, how Ogden is in control and, you know, he's a curator or whatever. And then it turns out... And then the High Five get control of it and they, you know, make it still whatever you were saying.
Right.
So I do think that's possible, but I think the problem is, and, you know, maybe it didn't happen here with a Royalton, but the problem is that we let go of our values to make sacrifices for things. And so maybe along the lines, that's where Royalton lost his way. It's also something that's brought up in what's it called? What's the Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron movie?
Long Shot.
Long Shot. It's also brought up in Long Shot. If you haven't seen that, great rom-com, check it out. Seth Rogen is going to write for Charlize Theron's character who's running for president. And she has this 3-part plan, which is like the bees, the water, and the trees or something like that. And basically, Seth Rogen's like, if you stay true to this, I will continue to be your writer. And as time goes on, she has to give up certain things.
It's politics, baby.
In order to become president. And he's like, fuck that, I'm out. So I think if you can maintain those core values, then sure. But it's maintaining those core values that becomes the hard part when you're building, you know, this massive conglomerate. Because it does take sacrifices.
Right. Well, I was going to say that I feel like in the real world, when we see people who don't lose this independent spirit or don't care about money and like are actually in it to win it or whatever, they eventually sell their company to someone else because like it becomes too much for them or like they couldn't hold out on the corporate takeover anymore. So then ultimately the conglomerates themselves, the corporations, are never independent and are just like hungry hippos.
Yeah, because as soon as you bring somebody other than that independent person, like they already have a different idea. So even if their intentions are good, well, it's still different from like what you had. And it no longer becomes independent, well, because now you're dependent on this other person to have ideas, to bring in customers, yada, yada, yada. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's not possible to have an independent rise to that level.
Right.
Or true independence, at least.
And then if I think that belief is hammered home a couple of scenes later when Royalton asks Pops if like what he thinks of all of it. And Pops says, I'm more intimidated than impressed. This kind of company scares me. People like you who have way too much money always start to think that the rules everybody else plays by don't apply to you.
Well,
I think that speaks to like your loss of morality and values.
Well,
that come with rising to that level. And
we get a peek of this. I don't know if it's before or after that. Pop says that's because the media controls, or that's because the sponsors control the media.
I think it's before.
Because
it's before Royalton shows up. Because I think what Jake's referring to is
that's
like right after Speed wins the first race, and then Sparky reads the paper, and then Sparky's like, "There's not a mention of racer motors in here anywhere."
I'm pretty sure that's that morning when Royalton comes up.
Yeah, but it's still before he gets there.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Royalton shows up, which is funny. Which is funny, but it's also interesting that Royalton tries to play to the family card.
Yeah, well, because he knows that's their value.
Yeah, and I think that's also a super prevalent theme in this, like you said earlier.
Well, and then the decision comes back down to that, because I have written down after that quote that I just read from Pops, he leaves the decision up to Speed, because he says something along the lines of, "But if my son wants to work with you, then I'll work with you." And I think this is largely because, now he mentioned something along the lines, he values his son more than anything in the world. And I think that he feels partially responsible for the loss of Rex. And then that was cemented for me later on in the film when he says something along the lines of, "I didn't lose Rex on the track. I lost him here." Talking about in their house.
Yeah, well, because that's where, that whole situation happened where he ran away.
Right.
Which, I think that there's something to say to that, because Rex was working with whoever, Crunchwrap Supreme or whatever, fixing races and stuff.
Yeah.
And so along the lines,
blow it up.
Yeah, along the lines somewhere he lost touch with that family, except Speed, which, he's our main character, so that's probably just a plot point of that. But
what do you mean by that?
Mean by what?
By that he never lost touch with Speed.
Well, so I'm not sure, because I'm literally just thinking about this as we're talking about it. But yeah, well, what I'm saying is Speed's our main character, and everything kind of revolves around him. So that just kind of may be what it is.
But what do you mean he never lost touch with Speed?
Oh, well, like I'm saying, like he lost that deep connection with the rest of his family, except Speed. In the same way that Pops lost the connection with his family and with racing until he watched the Bucky Barnes race. You see what I'm saying?
No.
I don't know how else to explain it.
Are you saying physically? Because he's
no,
talking
emotionally.
Well, then I disagree with that, because Pops and Speed, to me, were on the same wavelength in regards to Rex throughout the whole film.
No. I'm talking about Rex and his family. Rex and the family.
Then no, I don't understand what you're saying at all.
Well, no, the same way that you thought I was talking about Speed and Pops, but I'm talking about Rex and the rest of the family. Like how, like he lost touch, like he emotionally he became distanced from them.
So he doesn't talk to them.
Well, yeah, maybe not just specifically that, but yes, yeah.
Okay.
Do you still understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I don't know how to explain. Anyway, I'll just say it and we'll move on. So yeah, I think that's an interesting point that Rex lost touch with the rest of the family except Speed, and then when he found that back after that second crash, where they survived again, then he found it, and then maybe he was also finding his morality and was like, "Oh, I got to stop this," and left. And then Pops went through that disconnect also, but then
so you're saying that when Rex was still in the family?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying after he died.
No.
Okay.
I was talking about before.
Okay.
Sorry.
I got it now.
All right. Now do you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying? So what do you think about that?
I don't know.
Okay. But then Pops found racing again, and then he became, that. And then I think the same thing happens with the Speed, is that he kind of races, and then he's kind of just racing, and then when he's racing, Rex's ghost, and he lets him go. I think I'm not super sure what that means. Still, I've seen this movie.
Well,
a few times.
I was saying, I wrote down something along the lines of that. He holds his brother up on a pedestal, kind of, and because like the whole world thinks that Rex was a bad guy or whatever, because he went on trial and it exposed all this being, and the company got shut down, and that's why Rex had to walk away and faked his own death. And so then I wrote down, Speed loves his brothers too much. He can't beat his record. He has to let Rex hold it to preserve the ideal image that he has of Rex. Speed is in denial of Rex's death and the trial. So I think that largely it's just him, like he can't bear to beat his brother because that's the one thing his brother has left.
I wonder if there's something along the lines of like Speed might have been living in Rex's shadow, but maybe he's not ready to go beyond that yet. Because I think it's symbolic. I think it's symbolic that he is racing Rex ghosts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he's been living in his shadow, but maybe that his whole life he has been trying to live up to Rex.
Yeah.
And like the memory that he has, but then but like you say, he's scared to go past where Rex went.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. What were we talking about in the general? I forgot why I was talking about that.
I don't know. Family, I guess. Oh no, I can't pick up. Okay.
I wrote this. We'll go back to this. The guy Royalton was talking about how he considers everyone there part of his family.
Who?
Royalton.
Considers who?
Everybody in the Royalton Industries.
Oh, he says that?
Yeah. But then I made the mention that a family is a tightly woven unit operating together on a most intimate level. And like Royalton Industries, just the very fact of like what kind of entity that it is cannot operate on that level.
Does he say that to the racers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think at the house or
then it's probably
that first.
It's probably
instance.
mainly just to appeal to their sense of family.
Oh no, it is. No, I agree with that. But I'm just thinking like the fallacy that is.
Right.
Trying to say that RA is a family, when it literally cannot be, just because of what a family is.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is obviously why they are successful, because capitalism and whatnot.
So speaking of this, we're talking about Royalton. This movie almost explicitly says this, but doesn't exactly. Says that Royalton is the devil, and then like signing with the sponsors is essentially making a deal with the devil.
Yeah, that's what Pop says. Which I meant to say. So Pop says that, and then it's interesting that the imagery before, at least words wise, he like you said, Royalton says he started it from below ground.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that that's what Royalton's intention was in saying that, but I do think that was the writer's intention.
Yeah.
To bring like that symbolism and tie it together, saying that Royalton is the devil, and that Royalton Industries is created from the depths of hell.
Well, I wouldn't say Royalton specifically, but just the sponsors in general.
Okay, yeah.
Because I mean, like Speed does say my dad was right. You are the devil, talking to Royalton. But I think it's more just the broad sponsors. You know, they kind of like they had their fingers in everything. You know, they can't be trusted because they only have one goal, and that is to make money. They don't care about the racers' well-being.
Yeah.
There's something else. Oh, I was also going to say that usually the main reference I have for someone making a deal with the devil is Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. But usually when someone makes a deal with the devil, it's kind of like making a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, where like there's always some trick,
right,
some clause in the way. And so obviously we don't get to see what that is because Speed doesn't sign. But I would argue that each of the racers would have lost something along the way. Presumably what Rex or Racer X is talking about, you know, as long as we don't let the racing change us. By signing with the sponsor, all of the other racers in the league they've lost their dinosaur, so to speak.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, and I'll take it a step further. Like they've lost their freedom. They now operate under the rules of Royalton Industries, if we're talking about them specifically, because it is fixed and it is all just a big money game, like we see at Crisscross Derby or whatever. Is that Takahashi, whatever his name is,
Casa Fiesta, like the racetrack?
Yeah, the Crisscross,
okay.
Casa Cristo or whatever. Like we thought that Takahashi was like, yeah, for racers, but then it turns out to just be one way for Wayland Yutani to drive the stock prices up, and then get Royalton to pay more for him, which he does, right, because Royalton thinks that if he buys those, well, then he'll boost his others. Yada.
Because the Toshido place has like
he has the transponders, the technology, but Royalton says to them that he owns the only foundry, which I guess isn't true then, because if Weyland-Yutani owns it, that's why he needs to buy the shares.
All right, who are you saying is Weyland-Yutani?
The dad guy.
Toshido's thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen? Oh, I was gonna say the guy who plays Scorpion. I'm pretty sure is that.
Yeah,
actor.
he's also in Endgame. You big dummy.
That's who.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
I would.
Well, you don't get to know.
Hold on, now I'm trying to think. What was I saying about that?
He's the guy that Hawkeye kills.
Oh, yeah. You mean Ronan?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Spoilers. I forgot where I was going with that, but
Not
yeah.
necessarily.
But yeah. I can talk about money now.
Okay.
So I think the most interesting thing in this is that, yeah, capitalism evil, but also necessary, possibly. Because the initial allure of being rich is very dangerous. But then as soon as one person has it, it's kind of like this domino effect where now this one person has it, so they control the game. In order to combat that, you also need the money to combat the game.
Right.
But then it just becomes so like elaborate. And now in order to do anything, like you have to submit to the will of money, which is like part of like why the racer motors is like super small. Is because the sponsors are paying the first race people, Spearhead, what is it? Thunderhead.
Yeah.
Are paying, like the sponsors are paying Thunderhead to present pieces of the media, even if it's not like true or whatever. And like you said earlier, Racer Motors isn't in that because of the sponsor, yada, yada, yada. But if Racer Motors had the money to be a sponsor, well, then they would be talked about. But because they don't, they're not talked about. And so do you submit to the system to get your name out there? Because even if you want to make a change, well, maybe you have to make those sacrifices. But in making those sacrifices, you might lose yourself. But
Mom, spaghetti.
Knees weak, arms are heavy. But I think in the end of this, Speed proves that you don't need that.
Right.
But I also think Speed is an outlier.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that, like how in Revenge of the Sith, Padme literally dies of a broken heart. Speed Racer 1.
Of a broken heart.
No, I forgot where I was going.
Broken car?
Because, like, he has, he wins because he has what the other racers don't. And, like, that's cliche or whatever, but that's literally why he wins, is because he can listen to the car and he knows why he's racing.
Yeah. Which is I forgot to mention this.
None of the other racers know why they're racing anymore, and that's why they lose. So it's like metaphorical, but also the way the film presents it, it's literal.
Yeah, but it's interesting. That's kind of, and I know that's the top of the episode, but this kind of, that's what Nacho Libre I thought was about. Is that now Nacho Libre did fall into the consumerist trap
because he has to buy the chips.
Yeah, but then he found his way again, and I think that. That but Speed lost his way, I think, because he was still living under with the weight of Rex on his shoulders.
When are you saying he loses his way? After like the Toshido thing?
I think maybe it's possible he never necessarily had it.
Until the
specifically end? After Toshido got all his money. Because then he was super upset, but then with Racer X not being his brother, and that confrontation kind of solidified Speed's beliefs in what he was doing, and then once Cannonball Taylor did the dirty to him, it was like, okay. This is it. This is why I'm racing.
By the way, the guy's name is Togakon. That's the other company.
Togakon?
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's what we've been saying. But because I think that Cannonball Taylor was an idol to them, and then Speed finally realizes that it has to be him, then that really, and then he, of course, listens to the car, and it's like, it works, Then everything comes together, and he finds his ultimate purpose in racing.
Right.
Bless you.
Sorry, guys, that was a little yawn there. Well, speaking of Cannonball, I was wondering when I watched it what the purpose of like his look was, because when they're at Royalton Industries and like Royalton gets Cannonball to speak to Speed, and he's like, "The reason I came here is because of that trophy wall. Because if you're gonna win, you better win," or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, obviously for him, it's all about winning. For Speed, it's not. It's about his family. But then, as they're like going away in the car, the tour car, Cannonball like stares down and follows Speed with his eyes. And I was trying to figure out what like the meaning of that was, because in the film it seems intimidating. And then I thought that maybe it was Cannonball like kind of hoping that Speed succeeds in taking down the people and that he doesn't sign. But then by the end of the film, I don't think that comes across, because Cannonball is like, "Nah!" or whatever he says to
with the GRX.
Yeah.
Which I also think there's something to that, where, you know, the transponder, what is it called? It's like the transponder fondler or something like that. Is what's in the GRX. What engine is in the GRX? Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer.
It doesn't say.
Okay.
Anyway, but I do know that the one in Speed's car, the Mach 6, is the Bernoulli Converginator.
Yes.
Which it seems like that's older tech. Who is Bernoulli?
Francesco Bernoulli is like a physics guy.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then that makes sense.
He created some kind of principle for rating, the Bernoulli principle.
Mach 6. Bernoulli Converginator. Anyway, the Bernoulli Converginator seems like it's an older...
Did I say Francesco Bernoulli?
Yeah.
That's not right. Francesco Bernoulli is the name of a character in Cars 2, which, I mean, he's named after the real Bernoulli, so maybe that is his real name. But I think this film and Cars 2 had the same plot. I'm not sure because it's been a while since I've seen Cars 2, but they both are like about racing and have the Spy B story. So
is Rex the Spy B story?
Yeah.
Bernoulli. Oh, David Bernoulli? That's not right.
I don't know.
Jacob
whatever
Bernoulli?
Did you Google Bernoulli principle?
No.
Well, you should do that, because that's what he came up with. Something about like traction or G-force or like wind resistance. I think that's it. And like that's why that F1 cars have something on the back.
Oh, it is Daniel Bernoulli. He was Swiss. Swedish. He was a Swedish fish.
That,
Hey, it's not me. Daniel was the son of Johann.
Johann Schmidt?
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Nope.
That's the Red Skull.
Ew.
All right,
what was I talking about?
Let's get back to Speed Racer.
What was I talking
That's
about?
from Chicken Little.
Johann Schmidt?
No.
What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. What was I talking about? Red Skull. Ew. That's gross. Hugo Weaving. Wait, what?
Yeah, he's the Red Skull. You know that?
Oh, yeah, I did. Sorry, I was thinking...
I watched that movie yesterday.
Yeah, but I was thinking about the guy's name, but how he was the actor, and I was like, wait, Hugo Weaving's not the Red Skull.
No, it's Johann Schmidt.
Johann Schmidt is, but Johann Schmidt's the character. All right, I got it now.
What?
I got it now. So I was thinking that maybe there's something there with like old tech is superior to new tech. You know, Battlestar Galactica, whatever.
Reverse planned obsolescence.
Yeah, there you go. How does that work?
Unplanned obsolescence.
Who? I almost made a bad joke.
Unplanned obsolescence.
Please stop.
Oh, I said obsolescence.
Unplanned.
No. All right. One thing that I think is weird is, and I wrote this down nearly close to the beginning, but then it comes back from time to time. I wrote down that time is cyclical. Why are you doing that? I wrote down that time is cyclical. I'm the Hulk. And he doesn't do that.
Hulk is smash.
He
goes, I said Hulk is smash.
Yeah, I know.
He goes,
okay.
All
right.
I watched Avengers yesterday.
Okay. I wrote down that time is cyclical initially because Speed and Rex's ghost are on the same track or whatever.
Yeah.
But then also Speed has to race on the track that his brother died on. And then I feel like Speed and his brother, Spritle, kind of like just moved up a
What
slot.
a weird name.
Like Speed is now Rex and Spritle is now Speed.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Pokemon knockoff.
Spritle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look up Spritle and see if the only reference is to...
Speed Racer?
Yeah.
Because like even shot for shot almost.
Yo.
When the family is watching Rex race, and then when the family's watching Speed race, where young Speed is in the Rex race is where Spritle is in the Speed race. And so like they've fulfilled the same goal there. But then also there's a quote later in the film where this is all right, so then again, this is the same thing. When Racer leaves, the dad is sitting in the same place as when Speed leaves, but we don't get to see the conversation that Rex has with the dad. We do get to see the one that Speed has, but then it's revealed later in the film because Spritle asks Speed, "Can I go with you?" But what's Speed hears is, "Rex, can I go with you?" Because Speed said the same thing to Rex, and then Speed's response to that is, "You'll understand when it's your turn." And that implies that
John Goodman fucks.
At least in this family, it's like a never-ending cycle of the brothers will always be stuck in this thing no matter what.
Because it's in their blood.
And yeah, maybe it's just that. Like they have to race or whatever.
Well, because in the beginning with like the weird like montage thingy, I wrote down like they have to race. Like that's just what they do. They can't. The principal or the teacher says all he can think about is racing.
Right. Well, and the mom at some point talks about how like when she watches him out there, it's like watching an artist or whatever. Yeah. But she also says something about Speed always wanted to be a racer, even like before he was born or whatever. But then also it's like it's their name, so it's kind of like that's what they're destined to do. But then also I think the name thing could be because people could point that out and be like, "Well, why is his name Speed? Why is he a racer?" But last names originally came from like your profession. Or whatever, so.
Like a farrier is a person who puts on horseshoes, and a butler, well,
I would think a farrier is someone who ferries, but I guess you're right.
I am right.
Okay.
No, that's Fieri.
So I don't know what if there's more meaning to the time and cyclical thing, but it's just something I picked up on. Thought was interesting.
I'll be honest, I was gonna say something to add to that, but I forgot as soon as I said farrier.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's close to Perrier, so.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Dang it! Now I want to know. Yo, did Rex have an older brother? Oh, I remember now. Is that they go on the same?
Maybe Pops is Rex's older brother.
Uh-oh. I don't like that. Yikes. Is Mom still Pops' mom?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Anyway.
Outlive, outlast, outplay, outsmart.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Is that Nike?
I think that's the Survivor.
Oh. That like they end up in the same place.
But it can't be outlived because you don't kill people on Survivor.
But they can die. I was gonna say
but you can die out here too in the real world.
Is Survivor not the real
Nobody
world?
dies in Speed Racer though. A lot of cars blow up and nobody died.
We're not there yet.
I know. I'm just saying nobody died.
Well, we don't know that they didn't die.
Okay.
We don't know that.
Okay.
Like we know Snakeler didn't die, but not everybody had their little things go. Anyway, that they end up in the same place, kind of Speed and Rex Racer X.
Yeah.
But they got there different ways.
When you say the same place, what do you mean?
Well, like they both raced at the crisscross.
Casa Fiesta?
Yeah. Queso Fiesta. But then they got their separate ways. Like Speed never gave up his morals or whatever, but Rex did.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but it happened.
Yep. It did.
That's all I got.
I wrote down 3 pages of notes, so I should have more, but I really feel like I don't. I mean, I guess, now that I'm thinking about this, family is also applicable to the Takahondas, whatever their name is.
Well, because of Haruko, I think, specifically.
Is that the dad?
No, that's the sister.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was never kind of a part of that, but she's the one that gives Speed the invitation.
Right.
And then because of that,
So she's like, I'm driving to do this, but she's not really driving. It's just a metaphorical drive
of Speed,
of
the
her.
movie, 1994.
No.
But then because of her, Takahashi is like, he still celebrates, even though, whatever. Even though she went against his will, like this is the 1800s.
Well, I think it was respect initially, but then after Speed wins, he's like, "Yeah, we need to race the race."
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier.
Also, I think I'm kind of glad that this movie didn't do well because I think it's a perfect like one movie thing. Like I don't think it needs a second movie.
Oh, I agree.
A second movie wouldn't improve anything.
Well, what would they do? I don't even know any of the Speed Racer lore.
He would find out about Racer X, I guess.
Well, what would that do?
I don't know.
Would there be a re-showdown at Thunderhead?
I don't
know. Okay.
Talk about brunch. What is brunch?
How long is the Speed Racer anime? Is it an anime?
Go Speed Racer. Well, which one?
The TV. Is it an anime?
There's been several. Jake.
There's been several?
Yes.
1967, that one.
That one's an anime.
There's other Speed Racer TV show? What the heck is this?
That's the one I watched. The CG animated.
Speed Racer, The Next Generation? Yeah. Oh, that's ugly.
Yeah, it is.
Who is Space Ace?
I don't know.
Hurricane Polymer? Kashan?
Those are just other shows, bro.
What is Kashan? That looks like Speed Racer.
What are you talking about?
All right, let me look at this 2002 one because the 2002 one looks okay. It says since 2002, which can't be true. Dave Wittenberg, what else has he done?
Well, yeah, that's not the one I watched.
Let me look at this.
Sorry for hearing my keys, guys.
That looks kind of cool. Yo, what was that Hot Wheels show?
Hot Wheels?
Yeah, that was a good show about racing.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Battle Force. The animation was bad, but it was cool. Hot Wheels Battle Force. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Force. I got a McDonald's toy from there once.
From the TV show?
Yeah.
Or did you get it from McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Look, there's a big lion guy and two brothers. They're like the Power Rangers, but for Hot Wheels. Super cool.
Well, maybe that'll be the Mattel movie.
Well, that's what we were talking about. This is what I was talking about when I said that. Which I'd be down for that.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, Vin Diesel should play the lion guy.
He's not in Hot Wheels.
But if he was, he should. He
already did Fast and the Furious.
That's exactly why he'd be perfect for this.
Yeah, okay. You're just typecasting bald guys.
No, I'm typecasting Vin Diesel, and that's it.
Is
Vin Diesel,
a bald guy?
Mean? I think you mean Jason Sarandon or whatever his name is.
Jason Statham?
No, what's his real name? Vin Diesel.
Oh, I don't know.
Mark Sinclair.
Dominic Toretto.
Yeah. Have you seen Superfast?
No. Why would I watch that?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Superfast. I need to finish watching that.
We need to finish this episode.
He needs to play. He needs to play Vin Sorrento.
No.
All right. How many blow-ups? Is that what we do, or do you want to do your thing first?
What thing?
Do you talk about how we're leaving forever?
No, not forever. No. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone actually blew up, so I was going to give it a 3.
But there's a lot of blow-ups. Okay, so I'll give it a 3, I guess. But we can do a Transformers thing, where actual 3 implied 4. Because I feel like somebody had to blow up.
Well, I don't think so.
Because I don't. No.
Well, because both Speed's car or Rex's car and Taka, whatever his name is, his car blows up, and none of them died.
Yeah,
so
but
if none of them died,
but not necessarily. I mean, there has to be one person that actually blew up.
I don't think so.
All right, actual 3 implied 3.1.
Okay.
All right. I need to finish this movie.
Speed Racer?
No, Superfast.
I was about to say it's too late now.
Hey, this wasn't a Shaun the Sheep thing where I accidentally watched Superfast.
I don't even know how that would happen because it was your pick.
No, you pulled it out, or did I pull it out?
I don't know.
What
was revealed.
Tell us if you agree with me or if you agree with Thomas about the styling or whatever you want to call it in this Twitter at Pacino Pod.
Yeah.
And tell me if you've seen Superfast and why it's the best movie you've ever seen at PacinoPodcast@gmail.com. That's our email.
PacinoPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I said I was going to say more at the beginning, but I don't really have anything else to say. But yeah, this is going to be the last episode for a little bit. I need to figure some stuff out and reflect on some things.
Yeah, I know you already talked to me about this, but hearing it like that, that's one of the most bullshit excuses ever.
All right, what up? It's post production Thomas here. I remember what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say was, yes, this is the last episode for now, but that does not mean that we're going away forever. Which I know Jake just said my excuse didn't sound really good, but it's not an excuse. That's the truth for me. What I was gonna say is that just because we're not going to be producing more episodes for a while doesn't mean we want you to stop emailing and stop tweeting. You keep sending us recommendations. Keep interacting with us on Twitter, and maybe we'll come back sooner than we originally planned. You know, we do this for you. We don't do it for us, and hopefully y'all can make it fun again. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Peace.
It'll be back. It might be different.
So. Yeah. I don't remember what I said before I cut out what Jake just said, but y'all don't know what he said because I cut it out. Anyways, here's something I've never said on here before. Women is Hitler, Stout and Saurkraut.
Stout and Saurkraut, women is Hitler. What was that from?
That's something we said.
Women is Hitler.
We don't have any trouble, yeah. Oh, thank you very much.